I speak in a low voice. I welcome you into a quiet room of soft light and slow breath. I sit where you can hear without strain. My steps are careful. The hour leans toward night. A lamp hums. Outside, the world calms. Inside, a small pocket of peace waits. I invite you to come as you are. Leave the day at the door. Carry nothing heavy into this hour. Set down the list of tasks. Put away the devices. Let their glow fade. If you have a Bible near, keep it within reach. If you do not, rest anyway. Paper or memory will do. Presence matters more than the object. My voice moves like a hand on your shoulder. It does not demand. It only guides. Take a breath in. Hold it for a moment. Let it go slowly. Breathe in calm. Breathe out tension. Repeat once. Then again. Each breath becomes a small boat. Each exhale frees another knot. I ask you to find a posture that feels safe. Lie on your back with a blanket over your chest if that comforts you. Sit in a chair and let the arms carry your weight. Place your hands palm up on your lap. Let your feet touch the floor. If sleep comes, that is fine. If wakefulness stays, that is welcome too. This time is gentle. It bends to your needs. I suggest a tiny ritual to mark the hour. Light a candle if you like. Sip warm tea. Turn the page of the Bible to a bookmarked place, or open to a page at random. These small gestures tell the body that rest is beginning. They ask the mind to slow. I speak of mercy without heavy words. Think of mercy as a soft cloth laid over a worn place. Think of assurance as a steady hand. Think of hope as a lamp lit for tomorrow. None of these need debate. They simply arrive. They hold. They heal slowly. I invite the heart to open. Not all at once. Es sliter first. A careful, curious peep. Imagine a door unlocked by kindness. Imagine a voice that does not shame. Imagine light that does not burn. Let the inner door move on its hinges. Let the breath be the key. I keep sentences short. I choose images that rest the ear. I speak in the present. The present is a room you can enter. The past and future wait kindly outside. For now, place attention on this small, warm space. I tell of a place inside that tends to be hurried. It chases judgments and tallies errors. Bring that place to the bedside and sit with it. Do not argue with it. Offer it a breath. Name one small thing that presses on you. Then imagine releasing it into the night with your out-breath. Watch it float away like a small paper boat on gentle water. I often pause between phrases. Each pause is an invitation. In that quiet, let a name rise. You may name a wound. You may name a loss. You may whisper a thanks. Say nothing. If words do not come, silence is prayer. 2. I remind you that this evening is not an exam. No score marks these moments. The aim is rest. The aim is to be held. The aim is healing that arrives like rain, soft, steady, unseen at first. Then green shoots appear. I tell a short image now. Picture a room by the sea at dusk. The door opens to a calm harbor. A small boat bobs close. Someone you trust waits with a blanket. They do not demand reasons. They only lift you gently and wrap you warm. Imagine the blanket heavy enough to comfort, light enough to breathe. Let that feeling rest on your shoulders. I direct attention to the body. Notice the jaw. Let it unclench. Feel the neck unwind. Let the shoulders drop. Let the belly soften. Notice the weight of the limb. Imagine each part floating free. If a place holds pain, breathe into it. Offer that place a friendly attention. Picture a warm light moving through that area, loosening knots, smoothing edges. The mind may wander. It may return. Both are fine. I avoid long theological language. I speak of hope in small, human terms. Hope appears as a hand extended across a table. Hope looks like someone waiting up for you. Hope presses a gentle, steady promise. You are not alone. Merci arrive à ce qu'être père. Not as a lecture. Assurance enfolds instead of insisting. These images rest easier than arguments. I ask you to name one word that feels true tonight. Peace, rest, grace, mercy, shelter. Hold that word lightly. Let it be a lantern you carry through this hour. When anxious thoughts knock, return to the lantern. Watch the thought pass by its light and let it go. I suggest a brief listening now. I read slowly. My cadence is even. My breath matches the rhythm I ask you to keep. No hurry appears. The text I bring will act like a mirror and a window. It will reflect where you are and open to something beyond the ache of the day. I mention Christ without debate. I speak of him as presence. He is a companion who walks beside a tired soul. He does not scold. He steadies. His mercy is present rather than theoretical. If you hold a picture of him, allow it to show a gentle face. If the image is too sharp, soften it. Let compassion outshine judgment. I encourage gentle confession of the day's small failures, not as guilt to carry, but as things to set down. Whisper the list under your breath or hold it in your mind. Offer it into the hands of mercy. Visualize those burdens being placed on a table and left there. Step away lighter. I invite a short moment of gratitude. Think of one small grace. A warm cup. A kind word. A breath that felt easier. Name it. Let the gratefulness spread like a thin light under the door. Gratitude does not erase pain. It permits tenderness to enter alongside sorrow. I keep the room of words small. I do not flood it. The aim is to prepare for listening. The Bible will be read slowly. Each sentence will be given time to sink. Each image will be left space to breathe. I remind you that rest may be thin at first. It may come in glimpses. That is fine. The evening asks for patience. Healing often moves like a tide. It arrives in increments. Do not judge the rhythm. Watch the tide rather than command it. I speak of hope as a gentle companion who leans in without pushing. He waits in the background. A quiet promise. If sleep takes you, that companion tends dreamlike fields. If wakefulness remains, The companion speaks soft words through Scripture. Either way, tenderness reaches you. I ask you now to soften the eyes and lower the gaze. Let the room dim inside the mind. If a Bible lies open before you, rest a hand on the page. Feel the paper's coolness. If not, imagine the words like slow stones, placed one by one. They form a path. You will walk it with me, step by step. I will read for a while after this invitation. I will read with pauses. I will breathe between phrases. I will let silence hold the echoes. If your eyelids close, I will not hurry. If your mind returns, I will welcome it and continue. My role is companion and reader. I carry the cadence. You carry the night. I end this welcoming with a short blessing in mind, not spoken aloud, but offered. May your heart be eased. May rest find a place in you. May mercy sit beside your breath. Keep the lantern word in hand. Know that for the next moments, the tone will remain gentle and kind. I prepare to open the first passage now. The lamp leans lower. The blanket breathes with the room. The harbor waits. Take one last slow breath with me. Hold it. Let go. The reading begins. I turn the page with a soft fingertip. The paper breathes under my hand. The lamp keeps a steady glow. I breathe slowly. You breathe with me. The book opens to passages that speak of rest and nearness. I do not rush the words. I let them settle like dew. I begin with a short reading that has comforted many hearts. The voice in the text speaks of being guided, of quiet fields and calm waters. It says there is a hand that leads beside what soothes the soul. It promises restoration when the spirit is tired. I read these lines slowly, letting each phrase land. Let the image of green pastures stay for a moment. Imagine the weight of your limbs softened by the sight of long grass. Imagine cool water at the ankles. Stay with that picture. Let the chest loosen. I place a pause between verses. The pause is as important as the words. In that quiet, notice how the room feels. Notice the steadying of breath. If there is a prayer in your mind, hold it. If there is silence, hold the two. Presence lives inside the pause. Next, I move to a passage that invites the weary to come. The invitation is gentle. It does not demand strength. It calls to those who carry heavy load. It offers a simpler path. I read the invitation as an offering a place to set down burdens. Hear it as a door unlatched. Imagine an entry you can step through. Lay your list on a table by the door. See the items there. Take one. Name it silently. Then leave it. Walk away lighter. I speak softly about presence. The scripture tells of a God who is near in a way that is more than notice. Near as breathing in the same room. Read in the pages are phrases about being found, known, and kept. Let those words settle into the chest like a warm hand. Feel the warmth at the back of the throat. Feel the steady beat beneath the ribs. Presence is not a rush. It is a steady lamp beside the bed. I guide attention to the senses. Rest a hand over the heart. Feel its rhythm. Imagine that rhythm matching a kind, divine pulse. The breath slows to meet it. Each inhale fills the chest more gently. Each exhale releases more. I ask for no force, only soft alignment. This is a quiet practice of companionship, not performance. There are lines in the Bible that speak of searching and finding, of walking in darkness and discovering a companion who walks as well. I read these lines slowly, with room between clauses. Picture a path at dusk. The path is safe. Someone walks beside you, maintaining a pace that does not push. The steps are sure. You do not need to hurry. Allow the feet to follow the path. The ground supports the weight. I pause to invite a small confession, not a long recounting, not a harsh judgment. A single small truth. Name one thing that feels heavy tonight. Say it in the mind. Offer it a short sentence. Then imagine placing it on a table. The action is symbolic, but it is also practical. The act means something to the body. The shoulders release a notch. The neck softens. The room breathes. After this, I read words that speak of being held even in the deepest night. These words move quietly. They are like a hand under the back, steady and warm. The image is simple shelter that does not hide the scars, but keeps them from the rain. Let the shelter be a felt presence. Imagine a blanket that is large and always warm. Let it drape over the shoulders. Feel its weight as comfort. I do not speak at length about reasons or rules. The text in my hand offers assurance. It says love that does not abandon. It says protection that does not isolate. Words promise help in the weary places. Hear them as a steady promise. Let each phrase be a thread woven into the night. I guide you toward a brief exercise in listening. Close the eyes, if that helps. Place attention on the pause between breaths. Notice the gentle space that opens. In that space, whisper one small thanksgiving. It can be as simple as a warm cup earlier today, or a received kindness. The thanksgiving need not erase sorrow. Instead, it invites a soft light in the room beside the shadow. Then I read a passage about presence that is very intimate. It speaks of being seen fully, even the untidy parts. That sight is not harsh. It is steady and kind. Let the idea of being known without being judged. Sit for a moment. If thoughts bring guilt, do not argue with them. Offer them to the presence that reads them, like an old list. Noticed, accepted. Put down. The atmosphere changes. Tension melts into a gentler quiet. I invite a small imagination now. Picture. A table in a quiet room. On it lies a lamp, a cup, and a worn Bible. The lamp is lit. The light is steady, not bright. A companion sits across, hands folded, waiting in calm silence. No words are pressing. The companion smiles without urgency. You may set your head on the table or sit upright. Both are allowed. The presence simply holds. Moving on. I read a passage that promises an unbreakable nearness. The lines say that no distance, no fear, no night can separate from the warmth of that love. I read slowly, letting the reassurance sink. Consider a rope. that ties a small boat to the shore. The rope is firm. The boat may drift a little, but the connection holds. Imagine that secure tether. Rest in the safety of it. Now I give a gentle invitation to surrender, to sleep as a kind of resting in trust. Sleep is not escape. It is recovery. It is the body's quiet repair. Allow the breath to deepen. Imagine the breath carried on as slow, steady tide, in with calm, out with release. Visualize the tide carrying away one small worry with each exhale. Watch it move farther out until it is a speck on the horizon. I then read a brief passage about peace that surpasses simple understanding. The words do not promise that all will be explained. They promise a peace that keeps the heart steady. Listen to that promise. Feel the steadiness as a gentle steadiness in the center of the chest. The mind may try to solve things. Let it be. The peace does not require solutions. It grows in the acceptance of rest. I offer a short guided breath now, timed with simple phrases from Scripture. Inhale slowly, as if drawing in a gentle promise. Hold for a slow count. Exhale and release the small things of the day. Inhale assurance. Hold. Exhale fear. Repeat this rhythm twice. Each cycle softens the muscles around the neck and shoulders. Each release is a little gift to the nervous system. Before moving on, I speak a few lines about mercy. Mercy is tender repair. It does not list failures as final. Instead, it covers them, mend by mend, like stitches in a quilt. Picture mercy stitching a seam that was once gaping. The patch is not new, but it holds warmth. Let the image rest over the places that feel torn. I prepare to close this section with a short pledge. I will continue to read the Scriptures slowly. I will leave long pauses for the words to live. If sleep comes now, let it arrive. If wakefulness remains, stay with the images and the breath. I remain in the room as companion and reader. My role is to keep the rhythm soft and steady. I finish by setting a small blessing in the air, not heavy, not loud, only intentional. May the presence you feel be a gentle companion through the night. May mercy sit close. May rest come in its own time. Keep the hand upon the heart if that helps. Keep the lantern word chosen earlier near. I fold the corner of the page and wait, ready to read the next passage. When you are ready, the page turns with a sound like a small hush. The lamp stitches a pool of light on the page. I breathe and let the breath steady the voice. Tonight I bring a familiar line to the bedside, not quoted, but held in memory, when even a few gather in a name of trust. Presence comes with them. The promise lives not only in crowded rooms or grand gatherings. It lives in tiny circles of attention. It lives in a whispered hope. It lives in a quiet room where two heartbeats meet yours and the still, listening pulse of the divine. This idea is simple. It is also kind. Gathering need not be formal. It need not be loud. A single folded hand, a single bowed head, even a silent reaching inward, counts as company. I suggest thinking of the room as a small ship. When more than one heart steps aboard, a companion boards with them. The ship feels steadier. The nights do not seem as long. The presence in the room is not a glare. It is a lantern set on the table. It casts a gentle circle. Inside that circle, things look softer. Edges round. Sharpness dull. If you are alone, know that solitude is not absence. A gathering can be quiet and interior. When the mind gathers in trust, when breath slows and intention leans toward mercy. The same promise applies. The room may hold only one body, but more than one heart can be present. The heart that seeks meets the presence that comes. This is not magic. It is a steady companionship. It is the sense of sitting beside someone who does not keep a list of wrongs. It is the feeling of a hand laid near a wound, not to press, but to warm. I watch the lamp. It keeps an even glow. The thought of presence settles like dew. Let it coat the surfaces of the worry in your chest. The lighting of this hour matters more than ceremony. A small routine, turning a page, folding a corner, placing the Bible within reach, creates a space where gathering can happen. These actions are invitations. The presence that gathers accepts them easily. Now I speak of restlessness. It appears in many forms. Sometimes it is a tightness behind the sternum. Sometimes it is a cascade of thoughts that run like loose marbles. Sometimes it is an urge to fix everything at once. Other times it takes a quieter shape, a dull ache that keeps you turning in bed. A small, persistent worry that hums beneath the ribs. Restlessness feels like a restless sea inside the chest. The waves rise and fall without permission. Describe it without judgment. Restlessness is movement. It seeks an answer, a place, a quiet. It often tries to solve what cannot be solved in one breath. It wants tomorrow fixed tonight. It replays yesterday's scenes as if they held the last word. The body follows the mind. The jaw clenches. The shoulders climb. The hands tense. The sleep does not fully come. The first step is gentle noticing. Name the feeling in a short sentence inside the mind. Call it by a simple word: restless, uneasy, stirred. Naming is not blame. It is recognition. The act of seeing brings a small distance. A space appears between you and the motion. That space can be a doorway. I suggest an image to hold in that doorway. Picture a small pond at dusk. A wind passes and ripples appear. The surface is no longer still. Instead of fighting the wind, place a single leaf on the water. Watch the leaf float and steady in the ripples. It does not calm the entire pond, but it offers a point of quiet. The leaf is an anchor. Your breath can be that leaf. Use the breath as a soft tool. Inhale for a slow count. Hold for the same slow count. Exhale longer. Each cycle lowers the volume of the inner waves. Breathe toward the belly. Let the shoulders drop as the out-breath travels. No force is required. Only gentle repetition. The body remembers the pattern and begins to follow. If the mind argues, invite it to sit at the edge of the circle. Do not engage every thought. Let them pass like clouds. Keep the lantern of intention lit. Return to the present with a soft instruction notice. Breathe. Release. The presence that gathers in the room does not demand perfect stillness. It welcomes the wandering mind and sits with it. There is a tenderness in the idea that restlessness can be brought into a gathered space. This presence does not hush the restless mind with scolding. It rests beside it like someone who sits with another at the foot of a bed. They do not fix the dreamer. They simply offer company. To feel held in that way changes the body. Tension softens. The breath becomes a little deeper. The jaw unclenches. I invite a small practice now. Rest a hand over the heart. Feel the rise and fall. Let the palm be a reminder that the gathering is happening. In that simple contact, imagine the presence drawing near, like someone lowering a warm blanket over the shoulders. It does not take away thought. It changes the tone of thought. Thoughts remain, but they no longer carry the same sharpness. Mercy alters the way the mind speaks to itself. If restlessness takes the form of repeated worry, try a short negotiation. Give the mind a small time to speak 2 minutes. Less. Let it list the primary concerns. Then promise to set them on a table and return to them tomorrow with clearer eyes. The act of postponement is not avoidance. It is a boundary that protects the night. The room is for rest. Tomorrow is for action. The dividing line between the two is small but sacred. Remember that presence also gathers with patience. It does not require you to be fixed before it arrives. It comes because the gathering itself calls for it. A candle lit, a hand on the page, a breath kept slow. These small acts summon a nearness that is able to bear the restless heart. Presence enters the room like a friend who knows you by name. That friend carries no list, only steady warmth. Do not mistake gentleness for passivity. The practice of resting in presence is active in its simplicity. You choose the breath. You choose the small ritual. You choose to name the unrest and offer it a place. The presence meets these choices without hurry. It responds with assurance rather than correction. This subtle exchange is healing. It does not always produce immediate sleep. It often produces a quieter heart. Quiet becomes sleep's ally. Now, a brief guiding image to carry as you close your eyes. Picture a small circle of light set on the floor beside your bed. It is made of listening. It makes no sound. Into that circle, drop a soft pebble named restlessness. Watch as the light receives the pebble. Over the pebble, a second hand lays a thin scarf of mercy. The pebble remains, but it feels lighter because it is not alone. The scarf does not remove it, but it keeps it warm until morning. I will read a passage now that echoes this thought of gathering and presence. I read it with long pauses. Each phrase is allowed to land and be felt. If sleep comes, do not wake to catch the next word. If wakefulness stays, let the words wash over the edges of thought like a slow tide. The rhythm in my reading will match the breathing we practiced. Inhale, hold, exhale, repeat. Before the page opens, choose a lantern word if that helps. A single gentle word shelter. Calm, near, mercy. Hold it like a coin in the palm. Let it warm. When the mind strays, return to the word. Use it as a quiet bell to call yourself home. I remain in the room. I keep the cadence soft. The reading will continue in small portions. The aim is not to resolve everything tonight. The aim is to provide companionship. The presence that gathers with us will do the rest. For now, rest the hands. Rest the eyes if they want. Keep the palm over the heart a minute longer. Let the pulse slow. Let the promise of presence sit beside the restless places. When I lift my voice again, it will be slow and simple. The lamp will do its steady work. The Bible will be read as an offering, not as a test. Mercy will be present as a quiet company. The night will move at its own pace. The intentional close of this section comes now. Place the small worries on the table in your mind. Fold the lantern word gently between your fingers. Breathe once more. Deep and even, I turn the page and begin to read. I turn the page and let the paper settle. The lamp breathes a steady light. My voice slows. The room listens. There is a simple line in the scripture that grounds this hour. It names a promise, a mind kept steadfast. Trusting finds a kind of perfect peace. I do not recite words exactly. I carry the meaning like a small lantern. The lantern warms. It does not flash or demand. It holds. Restlessness visits most nights. It arrives like wind. Sometimes it is loud and crashing. Other times it is a low, steady hum beneath the ribs. It shows up as a list that will not quiet. It shows up as a tight throat. It shows up as a replay of a wrong turn or a worry about tomorrow. The body follows the mind. Muscles hold without knowing why. Sleep seems far. Noticing the feeling is the first act. Name it simply inside the mind. Call it restlessness. Call it unease. Make the name light. Naming is not blame. Naming is a small clearing. The clearing lets a single lamp stand. The lamp reveals a path inward. Trust begins with small choices. Choose to place the thought on the table. Choose to fold it into a palm. Choose to breathe with the purpose of handing it over. Trust is not a grand leap. It is a gentle handing. It is a quiet trust that the presence nearby will not abandon what is given. Imagine the perfect peace described as a calm center. It does not erase storms. It steadies the heart while the storm moves. It is not a brittle silence. It is a deep, held stillness. The mind that leans on trust finds this stillness like a soft harbor. The body is allowed to rest inside it. I ask you to rest a hand over the chest. Feel the beating there. The beat is steady. Let the breath match the beat softly. Inhale with intention. Hold briefly. Exhale and imagine setting a small burden down. Repeat slowly. Each cycle teaches the body that it can come back to center. Each small return builds a quiet steadiness. There is a story in Mark that has stayed with me for years. It is not told as drama here. It is told as an example of calm, born of deep trust. A small boat. Wide sky. Es un storm. The sea becomes wild. The men in the boat grow afraid. In the midst of the chaos, the one who leads sleeps. He is not absent. He is centered. His rest is not denial. It is confidence. When the storm is named, the leader rises and gives a quiet command. The sea listens and becomes still. The wind loses its anger. The water calms like someone smoothing a blanket. The movement stops, as if a hand placed gently on the tossing. The point is not the fear of those who rode. The point is the posture of the one who rests in the middle of wildness. This calm teaches two things. First, trust does not remove reality. Storms stillkomme. Second, trust changes the way the heart meets storms. A person who trusts knows they are not left to their own devices. They can be at peace even when everything else moves. That peace is steady and practical. It allows rest in continuing motion. Consider the small boat again. It is a vessel made of wood and hands. It rocks. It creaks. Inside it, a leader sleeps through the sound. His sleep is a quiet proclamation that the not yet known is still within care. The sleeping pattern models a posture. It models a trust that the presence with you is greater than the disturbance around you. The image can be carried into other rooms. Picture a small shuttle crossing dark space. Outside the hull, meteors gleam and clatter like distant storms. Inside, the navigator keeps a soft gaze on the instruments. The crew does what it must. Someone rests with a sure heart. That calm moves through the cabin. It does not stop the universe. It changes what is possible inside the ship. Learning from that calm is a practice. It begins with small acts of trust. Place one worry on the table and promise to return to it. Choose to sleep while the list remains. Give the mind permission to postpone its work. Let the body accept rest as an active gift. Doing this once does not fix everything. Doing it again and again trains the heart. A short exercise may help. Close the eyes if that is comfortable. Picture the boat or the small shuttle. See the leader resting. Watch the crew breathe slowly. Match that rhythm. Inhale long and available. Hold with gentle patience. Exhale and let the tension soften. Repeat this 3 times. Each repetition lowers the volume of inner noise. If the mind objects, speak kindly to it inside. Tell it the plan. Give it a time. 2 minutes or 5. Let it list the main concerns. Then imagine placing that list beneath a lamp. Promise to look at it tomorrow with clearer eyes. The night is for rest. Tomorrow will hold the task. The boundary is a small kindness. Trust also grows from memory. Recall a time when care came in a waking moment. A friend arrived. A hand steadied you. A solution appeared. Let that recollection be evidence. The past keeps traces of care. Those traces make trust more plausible now. They make the lantern brighter. Do not rush the broken pieces. Mercy mends slowly. It is a patient sewing. It holds edges together over time. The perfect piece is part of that slow mending. It does not plaster over pain. It steadies the place while repairs happen. Imagine a seam sewn with closeness rather than a quick fix. I read the passages with pauses. The pauses are not empty. They allow the meaning to settle. Listen to the silence as much as to the words. Within those quiet places, imagine the calm spreading through the chest like warm oil. The oil does not erase the scar. It keeps it from chafing through the night. Keep the lantern word near. Choose one now, if it helps. A single word piece. Steadiness. Shelter works. Hold it lightly between the thoughts. When restless images return, bring the word forward. Let it be a little bell you ring to call yourself home. I guide attention back to breath. Breathe toward the belly. Let the shoulders soften each exhale. With every release, imagine a tiny wave of tension leaving the body. See the wave fade at the shore. The shore is the center that trust makes. It is not a far-off place. It sits under your ribs, under your hands. If sleep comes slowly, welcome its small steps. Sometimes rest arrives as a nap between thoughts. Other times it is full. Either way, the practice of trust creates a path. The path is slow and sure. The nights grow more kind as the practice repeats. Before I read aloud the passage from Mark, rest the hand on the page. Feel the paper cool. Let the presence of the book itself act as a small anchor. The reading will be calm. The voice will carry like a small beam. It will not demand reaction. It will only offer. I prepare to knit the Isaiah promise and the Mark story together. The promise names perfect peace for steady minds. The story shows a model of steady trust. Together they become a small instruction. Notice the unrest. Name it. Hand it over. And rest even while the world moves. A short image to close this part. Picture the boat once more. The leader sleeps. A gentle tether ties the boat to a safe shore. The tether does not hold the boat rigid. It allows gentle movement. The tether is the trust you offer tonight. Lay it in place. Let it hold. The water stills in small moments. The breath deepens. I will read now. My cadence will be deliberate. Long pauses will follow each sentence. Let the words fall like soft stones into quiet water. If the eyes close, that is enough. If they stay open, let the images rest beside the eyelids. This section ends with a small blessing in the heart. Not spoken aloud, but felt may the mind find steadiness. May the heart learn the practice of trust. May the night hold you with gentle mercy. Keep the lantern word near. Keep the hand on the chest if it comforts. When the next page opens, the reading will continue. The lamp will remain steady. The cadence will keep its slow pace. I remain here as reader and companion. The next passage will sit within that same quiet circle. For now, breathe. Place one small worry on the table. Let the presence with you rest beside it. I turn the page and begin to read. I lift the book and let the page fall open with a soft sound. The lamp keeps its steady circle. My voice moves slow. I begin with a story I have read many nights. I do not offer details like a scholar. I tell the scene as someone who sits by a bedside and wants calm to come. A small boat crosses a wide lake. The sky shifts. Clouds gather. Wind finds the sails and turns gentle motion into wild motion. Waves rise like quick thoughts. The boat rocks. Hands grip the wood. The air tastes sharp with fear. Inside the boat someone sleeps. Not from ignorance. Not because the danger is denied. Sleep rests on a quiet trust deeper than the wind. That quiet is not absence. It is a rooted calm that steadies more than the arms that row. When the leader wakes, the voice is soft and sure. The shout that moves the storm is not loud thunder. It is a steady word that brings the sea back to its slower breath. The waves fold down. The wind eases. The boat breathes again. I do not tell the story to glorify drama. I tell it to show a truth the night already knows. Storms on the outside are like storms inside the chest. They arrive with sudden force. They toss memories, fears, and old grievances into motion. Breath becomes shallow. Sleep flees. The same steady presence works inside. It does not press the storm out. It alters the way the heart meets wildness. The hand that quiets the sea also places a soft palm over the restless places within. There is room for fear, and there is also room for steadiness. Now I turn the image inward. Imagine the chest as a small lake. Anger is a wind. Regret is a cold current. Worry is a spray that stings the face. The heart is the boat. The presence that calms the sea sits near the center. It asks only to be invited in. It will not fix everything at once. It will steady. Forgiveness lives close to that steadying. To forgive is not to pretend the storm never came. It is not a quick fix. It looks more like a slow untying of knots. Forgiveness allows the boat to sit easier in the water. It releases weight wrapped around the ankles of the soul. I read a line from Scripture that teaches this with a spare hand. It calls for patience with one another, and for the kind of forgiveness that remembers how you were held. It asks for a gentle return to peace when hurts have left marks. I do not quote the exact words. I offer the meaning like a lantern. Forgive as you have been forgiven. Let mercy direct the small choices. This instruction is simple and hard at once. It asks us to set down a complaint and to open hands that hold grudges. It calls for a soft courage, the kind that says, I will not carry this tonight. It invites a small practice. If you are willing, try this with me now. Breath stays slow. Close the eyes, if that helps. Bring to mind one small injury. It may be recent. It may be years old. Keep the picture small. No need to replay a long scene. See only the shape of the hurt. Notice the sensation it makes in the body. Name the feeling in one quiet word. Sting. Tightness. Burn. Hold that word like a pebble in the palm of your mind. Breathe toward it. Do not force change. Let the breath be the strength that slowly loosens the grip. Inhale with a steady draw. Exhale and imagine loosening a knot. Do this 3 times. Now picture the one who harmed you as a distant figure, not to justify the harm, but to free the heaviness you carry. Imagine extending a small light toward that figure. The light is not a confrontation. It is a letting go. See the light blur the edges of the hurt. Watch the tightness in your chest soften by a fraction. Forgiveness sometimes means setting a boundary. Setting a boundary is not vengeance. It is a protection for rest. You may choose to forgive and still keep distance. The two can live together. Mercy does not demand unlimited access. Mercy learns how to protect the heart while it releases the weight of anger. If the wound is toward the self, the practice looks similar. bring to mind a regret folded in the heart. Name it and breathe toward it. Speak to it with quiet words inside. Offer the same mercy the Scripture asks you to give others. Let the inner voice receive what you would give, a friend gentleness, a little leeway, time to grow. A small ritual can help the body accept the change. Take the pebble word and imagine placing it on the shore of a calm lake. See the pebble sink a little into the sand. A hand does not forget the pebble exists. It simply changes how it holds it. The weight feels less around the neck. The shoulders relax. If naming people seems too close tonight, name the feeling alone. Say the word in the mind and breathe. Forgiveness begins in such small acts of release. The sea does not calm all at once. Waves become fewer. The heart learns a new rhythm. Remember that forgiveness is given, not earned. The choice to release does not rewrite memory. It shifts your bearing. It loosens the ropes that tie the chest to the past. This shift creates space for rest to enter. I offer another small practice for when anger keeps the night awake. Picture a lantern in the room. Into it, drop a tiny scrap of paper with a complaint written on it. You need not write the whole story. One sentence suffices. Fold the paper and place it into the lantern. Close the lantern gently. Watch its flame warm the scrap until it is weightless ash. The action is symbolic. The body reads the symbol and loosens its grip. If you prefer a quieter image, imagine a pair of hands that take the scrap and fold it into a small boat. That boat is set on the surface of the inward lake. Watch it float. The current carries it away slowly. You can see it for a while. Then it grows small on the horizon. Allow your eyes inside to rest on that receding dot. Forgiveness often reunites pieces that seemed lost. It creates a pathway to mercy. It allows sleep to return by lifting the burden that keeps muscles taut. It keeps the heart soft enough to hear the steady voice that calms storms. There will be nights when forgiveness is impossible in one sitting. That is fine. Start with the smallest loosening you can accomplish. A single breath that releases a knot is progress. A single thought that replaces a sharp word with a softer one is progress. The practice accumulators quietly. If guilt tends to anchor you, place a hand over the chest and breathe with a particular kindness. Imagine the palm as a warm salve. Each exhale pours that salve over the old marks. No erasing happens. Healing begins with warmth. I remind you that mercy is not denial of harm. Mercy is the willingness to sit with the harm without letting it build walls inside you. It keeps your inner ship from being crushed by its cargo. If you want, speak a short promise in the mind. Promise to look at the situation again tomorrow with clearer eyes. Promise to care for yourself tonight. Give the mind a task for morning. This small scheduling frees the night. The mind trusts that the work will have its time. It allows the body to rest. Now I return to the boat. See it again at dawn. The sea is gentler. The crew breathes with a steadier rhythm. The leader's calm moves through the boat like a slow tide. The memory of the storm is still there. The scars are visible, yet the crew can sleep between the tides. That is the fruit of forgiveness. As I close this passage, keep one small thing in hand. It might be the pebble word, the lantern image, or the folded scrap. Hold it lightly. Let it warm. If tears come, let them come. They are part of the night's clearing. If sleep arrives, let it come without guilt. My voice will stay soft a while longer. I will read on if you wish. If you choose to rest now, that too is welcome. The practice for tonight is humble. Name one hurt. Breathe toward it. And loosen the grip, one small turn at a time. Mercy moves in the small turn. I set the book down with care. The page rests open. The lamp keeps its quiet circle. I place a gentle thought in the room. May mercy meet the places that ache. May forgiveness unfold like a slow tide. May rest come with the knowledge that you need not carry everything alone. When you are ready, close your eyes. Breathe once more. The next page will wait. I remain here, reading. If you wish to stay, if sleep gathers you, go with gentle peace. The harbor is steady. The hand that calmed the storm is patient. The night keeps its slow work. I turn the page with careful fingers. The lamp holds its pool of light. My voice is slow. The room is still. Tonight I name a thing that often feels too large to carry grace. Grace comes as a gift. It is not earned. It does not arrive because of neat lists or tidy work. It drops into the lap like a warm package left at the door. The mind wants to tally. The heart learns to receive. I read the phrase in the margin. A small bookmark note that refers to a line from Ephesians. The line speaks of being held by grace, not by achievement. I do not recite exact words. I carry the meaning. The care in that sentence has guided many nights. It invites a posture of receiving rather than striving. Imagine a small harbor at evening. Boats come in with tired lines and sails patched from long journeys. The harbor does not ask the boats to prove a clean record. It loosens ropes and guides them to a soft berth. The harbor gives space. It gives rest. Grace is like that harbor. It is the welcome you did not work to deserve. The place that bends to receive whatever you bring. This gift is quiet. It does not shout. It does not demand payment. It arrives without an invoice and without a lecture. That is what makes it strange to the busy mind. The habit is to earn warmth, to prove worth. Grace asks for a different motion to accept. Place a hand on the chest. Now, feel the rise and fall. Let the touch be a small question. May I receive this? Breathe in slowly. Hold for a soft count. Breathe out and imagine a small opening of the collarbone like a door ajar. Through that door a gentle light slips. Let it rest on the ribs. The light is not hot. It is steady. It warms without burning. Receiving grace looks like many little acts. Sometimes it is a thought released. Today, I will not carry this weight. Sometimes it is a decision I will rest a little longer. Sometimes it is a memory of mercy given earlier that now proves a kind of proof. The action is simple. The posture is soft. I have watched people try to lift themselves up by their own hands long after the arms are tired. The body trembles. The breath shortens. The mind keeps score. The story of grace shifts the scene. It places a hand under the chin and says, Let me hold you. The hand steadies more than a checklist ever could. Think of grace as a cloak placed over the shoulders. The cloak is warm. It has patches where it was mended. Signs of use. The patches do not shame. They tell of journeys survived. The cloak covers mistakes and comforts cold bones. Wearing it does not mean the trip ends. It means the traveler rests a while. The cloak does not erase scars. It keeps them safe from the wind. If it helps, imagine a small child on the edge of sleep. The child has tried to walk a long road and has fallen many times. A parent bends down and lifts the child without a litany of faults. The lift is soft. The child rests against a breast that beats steady and sure. That lifting is grace in miniature. It is an action that needs no justification. Receiving grace sometimes feels awkward. The mind may whisper that nothing is free. Suspicion sarise. The practice here is patient. Offer a small test. Lay down one small burden now. Name it in the mind with a short phrase. Then imagine placing it on a table in the room of your heart. See a hand, gentle and deliberate. Pick it up. The hand does not punish the burden. It holds it with kindness and sets it aside. Breathe. Notice the space that opens. Grace also arrives as permission to be less than perfect. Perfection is a harsh lamp that bleaches the edges of life. Grace is a dimmer switch. It lowers the glare. It allows for rooms of soft shadow where repair happens slowly. There is a mercy that cares for broken things without pretending they were never broken. I read slowly from the book in my lap. Not to quote, but to echo a promise already kept. The promise is that the gift arrives not because of earning, but because of love that chooses to give. The voice of Scripture here is a simple invitation stand in the receiving posture. Let the hands be open. Practice the quiet habit of accepting. Do this now with the breath. Inhale and name one small gift. You did not earn a kindness from someone. Avar Meal. A roof that did not list tonight. Hold it in the mind for 2 counts. Exhale and feel the ribs expand under the palm. Let gratitude melt the edges of suspicion. The two go together, receiving and thanking. The mind learns to trust the movement of giving. Grace changes the rhythm of striving. It does not cancel effort. It alters motive. Instead of laboring to prove worth, action can flow from a place of response and rest. Work done from rest carries a softer tone. It is steadier. It lasts longer. The heart that receives is freer to give without barter. Sometimes grace falls on fear. Fear tightens into a knot at the base of the throat. The knot can be loosened by a single small recognition. I am held even here. Say it quietly inside. No need to parade the phrase. Let it be a gentle witness. Hold the phrase against the pulse under the hand. The body responds to the witness. Muscles unknot by degrees. The mind finds new patterns. Mercy and grace are kin. Mercy tends wounds. Grace offers rest. Both move toward the same end, a heart that can breathe. Forgiveness prepares the ground. Grace supplies the water. Together they allow growth where hardened soil once lay. If any doubt persists about worthiness, remember the harbor image. Boats arrive after long toil. They come ragged. The harbor still loves them home. The kindness is not based on merit. It is based on a steadier affection. That fact asks nothing of the schooner and everything for the sailor's rest. The act of receiving can be a ritual too. Take a breath. Unclench the jaw. Let the shoulders fall. Imagine a small ribbon in the hand labeled Grace. Release the ribbon. Watch it drift across the lamp circle and land softly on the table in the room of the heart. Do this as often as the mind requires. Ritual trains the body to trust a new script. Grace also reaches the parts we hide. The places with old shame. Shame like secrecy and rehearsed blame. Grace lets shame come into the light without shaming back. It looks upon the broken and keeps a steady gaze that neither flees nor flinches. Let that steady gaze be imagined now as a small lantern placed on the nightstand. It does not expose in order to judge. It reveals in order to heal. There will be nights when the act of receiving feels like a slow, stubborn work. That is all right. Take the smallest step. One breath that loosens a jaw. One thought that chooses trust for a minute. Small steps aggregate into a longer path. The practice is patient. I fold the thought of gift into a promise. The promise speaks quietly. Grace is available tonight. It is not conditional on a cleaned ledger. It waits in the room like a warm cup. Take a sip when you can. Let the warmth travel down the throat and rest in the belly. Let it steady the limbs. Before I read on, rest the hand over the heart once more. Feel the pulse. Imagine the pulse as a measure of care rather than a drum of demand. The heartbeat is the metronome of presence. Match your breath to it. Inhale on 4 counts. Hold softly on 3. Exhale on 6. With each cycle, imagine the gift settling a fraction deeper. Receiving grace also teaches a way to speak to the self. Replace a harsh verdict with a kinder phrase. Where criticism once lived, let a softer truth stand. I am enough for this moment. The language is small. It does not solve everything. It opens a door. Close your eyes if it helps. Picture a small child opening hands to receive a gift. The hands are empty because they expect nothing. That posture is courage. It is not pride. It is humility and strength braided together. Let that image hold for a breath or two. I prepare to read a few more lines. My cadence remains slow. Each sentence will rest long enough to be felt. The book in my lap is a companion. Its pages are not a test. They are an offering. Let them land as invitations to accept. If sleep comes, accept it as one of grace's forms. Sleep is a gift of repair. It is not weakness. It is a kind of trust in morning steadiness. If wakefulness stays, let the small practices repeat. Name one gift. Breathe toward it. Let the hand rest on the chest. I close this part with a short blessing held in the mind. May the gift of grace find a quiet place to land in you. May it loosen the hands that grip. May it steady the heart for the gentle work of tomorrow. Keep the lantern word near grace. Let it be a coin in the palm. I turn the page when you are ready, and the reading continues. I turn the page slowly. The lamp pools its light. The room listens. I hold the book where the paper feels cool beneath my thumb. The hour leans gear. My voice moves like soft footfalls. Tonight, I bring a line from a passage that speaks of a love that will not let go. I do not read the words exactly. I carry the meaning close and speak it slowly. The claim is simple and bold. It says that no force, no distance, no depth can pull that love away. Said plainly, it means love that keeps, even when everything else slips. Imagine a thread that runs through a long, dark place and cannot be cut. Imagine that thread touching the heart and gently holding it steady. The thought is not loud. It is steady. It is like a lamp placed where the night is deepest and refuses to go out. This love arrives as a gift. It does not wait at the door until merit has been proved. It comes without a list of achievements. The nature of the gift surprises the busy mind. The instinct is to earn warmth. The practice here is to receive it. Receiving is not passive. It is a small act of surrender. It is letting the hands open. I ask for a breath now. Inhale slowly. Feel the air travel down past the collarbone. Hold gently. Exhale and imagine a soft ring forming around the heart. This ring is not a wall. It is a warm circumference. It lets light in and keeps fear from dominating the space. It does not seal off pain. It simply places a companion there that will not leave. The assurance the passage holds is not a promise that trouble will vanish. It does not erase storms. Rather, it changes the meaning of the trouble. When a storm comes, being loved in this way means the storm has no final claim. The tempest may howl. It may press sharp and cold. Still, the underlying reality is care that outlasts the wind. Picture a small fire under a heavy sky. Rain may come and wet the wood. The ember remains, kept by a hand that shelters it. I choose another image. Think of a root in dark soil. The root bends and meets stone. It grows, not because the earth is perfect, but because it reaches for the deep, stable source of water. Love that will not let go is like that root. It goes deep where sight cannot follow. It finds sustaining streams even when the topsoil cracks. The action of the root is quiet, persistent, patiently life-giving. There is a strange freedom in this claim. If nothing can separate the heart from this love, then fear loses some of its power. Worry about being abandoned. Guilt about past mistakes. Dread of the future. They do not get the final word. The mind can hold them. The heart need not be captive to them. The practice is to remember the steady fact, again and again, like a small counterweight to every anxious thought. That remembering can be gentle. Keep a short phrase in mind, 1 or 2 words at most. A single word can act like a bell. Ring it softly when the mind runs. A word such as held, near, or love. Bring it back without pushing. The mind will wander. The bell will call the attention home. Tonight, I suggest an exercise that uses nothing but breath and imagination. Place the hand over the sternum. Feel the small rise beneath the palm. Picture a circle of light that begins under the hand and spreads slowly outward. The light has no heat that burns. It warms like a blanket in cold weather. With each breath, the circle widens. Let it pass over memories you keep tucked away. Let it cover them with steady warmth. The act is symbolic. The body reads the symbol and relaxes a little. Unconditional love changes the tone of small decisions. It does not license neglect. It loosens the grip of perfectionism. When the heart believes itself loved apart from proving worth, the next choices come from a quieter place. Tasks are done not to earn applause, but because the hands are able. The rest of the night can be kinder. Sometimes the thought of being loved without earning it meets a stubborn voice inside that says, "That cannot be true." Meet that voice without arguing. Notice its shape. Offer it the same ring of light and say nothing more. The posture of offering matters more than the debate. The presence we call out is content to be patient. There is a tenderness in knowing the claim applies to every part of life, not just on the good days, not only when neat things line up. It reaches into the bruised parts. It touches the corners of fear and the rooms of shame. It does not ignore brokenness. It stands with it. Think of a hand that holds a cracked cup. The hand does not pretend the crack is absent. It keeps the cup from falling. This love also works quietly through time. It does not hurry the process of change. It is not a sudden fixing. Transformative work can be small and slow. The change often looks like a seed held in soft soil. Water does not rush it. The seed moves at its own pace. Yet the presence that waters is constant. Over many small days, shape appears. A practical moment now. In the mind, name one place that aches tonight. Keep it small and precise, not a long list. One spot. Hold the image briefly. Then imagine this same unbreaking love leaning toward it. The leaning does not remove the ache instantly. It relocates meaning. The ache is acknowledged. It is no longer a sign of being unwanted. It becomes a place of company. If the ache sits in memory, let the image of a gentle hand gather the memory like a paper note and place it in a safe box. The box is not a tomb. It is a chest that can be opened again. The action is not erasure. It is ordering. It gives the night space to breathe. Fear about future days can be quieted by the same thought. The truth of this love crosses time. It holds today and the uncertain tomorrow equally. The mind often wants to secure everything that might go wrong. The practice here is trust in the presence that persists. Trust grows with practice. Start with one small thing. Offer it into the night and say, in the mind, that this is not the final measure of my life. There is also a communal dimension. When two hearts sit in the same room and hold this truth, it spreads, not by pressure, but by example. The steady fact becomes contagious in the best sense. A calm breath is contagious. A quiet confidence that love holds is contagious. If company is present in the room with you, lean into that shared assurance. If alone, imagine a circle of warm light expanding to include others you care for. The circle includes them. It includes their struggles. It makes a small network of steadiness. The nature of this love is not sentimental. It is strong and plain. It meets fear with the firmness of persistence rather than the blare of certainty. It says, simply, I remain here. The words do not need to be loud. The action is the steady place that does not shift. This steadiness changes the body. Muscles that brace relax by degrees. The jaw unclenches. The shoulders release. Sometimes, little by little, I pause now and keep the silence, a long breath. In this pause, let the steady fact sit like a settled stone at the center of the chest. Stones do not have to prove themselves to be stones. They sit and are what they are. Let the heart be like that stone held, heavy with presence, not needing to perform. There may be nights when the thought of being unshakably loved brings tears. That is fine. Tears are a part of the work. They are a soft rain that waters tender places. Allow them. Let them be companions to the breath. If the night is kept awake by worry about a relationship, place that worry in the circle of light for a moment. Imagine the light growing to include both sides of the worry. See the edges soften. This is not a trick. It is a new frame. The frame does not solve everything. It changes the distance between the heart and the trouble. Remember that love offered without earning reforms. The inner judge. That judge may have kept meticulous lists. Replace the list with a gentle ledger in which mercy and truth both sit. The ledger does not make the wrongs vanish. It reassesses them with a kinder pen. The effect on sleep is slow, but real. I close this section with a small practice of breath and phrase. Inhale slowly, drawing the idea of being held into the chest. Hold for a moment. A space that is not tense. Exhale, and imagine setting down one small fear. Repeat once more. The simple motion teaches the body that it can hand things over. Practice this as often as the mind needs. Before I turn the page, I fold a quiet blessing into the room. It sits in the air like a small note. May the assurance of this unending love rest near the ribs tonight. Let it be a companion that will not go. Let it steady the pulse. If sleep comes, let it be gentle. If wakefulness stays, let the fact of being held make the hours easier to bear. The lamp keeps its soft circle. The book waits for the next page. I will read on slowly when you are ready. For now, rest the hand over the chest if that comforts. Breathe once more. The love that cannot be separated from the heart moves like a slow tide. It draws near and keeps its slow work. I open the Bible with a careful hand. The page smells faintly of paper and calm. The lamp casts a steady circle. My voice is low. I do not hurry the words. Tonight, I come to a very simple place in the scripture. A short command sits there like a small stone on a table. The stone asks one thing, be still, and rest in knowing. I speak the phrase softly. I do not use many words around it. I let the meaning sit. Be still. Know that I am God. The sentence is spare. It is meant to learn. Hear it as an invitation. Not a demand. Hear it as an offering to the tired places. Stillness is not absence. It is a kind of attention. It is the attention of one who listens. To be still here means to set aside quick answers. It asks the shoulders to drop. It asks the jaw to unclench. It asks the breath to slow. The body responds faster than the mind. A single slow breath often starts the movement. Place a hand over the chest. Now, if that helps, feel the gentle rise beneath the palm. Let each inhale be a small gathering. Let each exhale be a small release. I read the phrase again. Slower still. Be still. No. Each word allowed to rest between the beats. In the silence that follows, notice how the ears adjust. The mind leans in. The room grows quieter in response. Imagine the words like cool water. They fall on dusty things. They moisten a cracked place. They do not scrape or pry. They only soak and soften. The first contact is gentle. Hold the image of the water. Let it run along the brow. Let it move down the throat. It does not rush. It washes in the pace it finds. I guide the breathing to match the reading. Inhale for a slow count of 4. Hold for 2. Exhale for a slow count of 6. Repeat. Each cycle aligns the body with the steady cadence of the line. The Bible phrase becomes a metronome. It keeps time for the nervous system. It asks the heart to follow a calmer rhythm. Stillness often meets resistance. The mind says it has things to solve. The list presses. The habit is to run toward action. Tonight, allow a small experiment. Tell the restless mind, inside, that you will attend to it after this hour. Give it a time. A simple promise is enough. The mind relaxes a little because it is heard and because it is contained. Promise to return with morning light. For now, the room belongs to breathing and to the word. Reading the scripture slowly is a practice. I speak one line, then I pause. The pause is not empty. It is a place where the phrase can be tasted. If a thought comes, let it arrive. Notice it, then return to the phrase. Be still. No. Repeat the phrase in the mind with the breath. Let the words sink like seeds into soft soil. They do not grow all at once. They root quietly. The word works like a lamp. It does not blind. It reveals edges and contours that were hidden in the rush. It shows where the burdens sit heavy. It lights a small path across the floor of the heart. Follow that path without haste. When you come to a place that hurts, look at it in the lamp's light. The hurt is visible. The light does not scold. It simply keeps the space honest and gentle. I read another short line from the psalm with that same care. The words mention a shelter, a refuge in the storm. I do not press on with explanation. I let the image stand a shelter where noise cannot demand your attendance. Picture a small room within the wide house of life. The door is soft and the floor is warm. In that quiet room, the word is read aloud like a steady breath. Let the scripture wash over the mind, as if ink were being rinsed into water. The sentences slide slowly. They swirl gently in the belly. They do not cling to the fingers of worry. Imagine them as slow ripples on a wide pond. They move outward and then fade. The motion is not shallow. It is not frantic. It simply reminds the surface to stop trying to do the work of the currents beneath. There is no need to prove faith in this hour. Do not bristle at the simplicity of the command. Stillness is not a test. It is a place of rest. The invitation is kind. It allows the heart to be as it is. If the chest feels tight, name it. If the eyes fill, receive the tears. They are part of the slow clearing. If a memory returns, place it gently at the edge of awareness and let the word breathe over it. I ask for a moment of imagination that is very small. Picture a quiet room by a lake at twilight. The wind has stilled. The surface of the water is a sheet of black glass. One word is written across the water in light. The word does not move. It simply exists. Steady and true. Let that word be the Psalm's call. Let it hold the space for you while the night does its work. The practice of stillness in God's word is not passive listening. It is a chosen posture. It is like resting a weary head on a pillow that will not judge the shape of the brow. Choose to make that posture tonight. Fold your hands if that helps. Lay one small worry on the lap and set a mental timer until morning. Turn the mind back to the psalm. Read it slowly. Let it be a lullaby of truth. I read a phrase that speaks of knowing. Knowing here is not knowledge that stacks facts. It is recognition of a presence. It is the feeling of company in the dark. The mind often wants to solve what it cannot. Tonight, invite recognition instead. Say to the thought, I notice you. Then return to the simple knowledge of presence. The way of knowing is a quiet tuning of the inner ear. If sleep arrives, allow the verse to become a soft loop under the rising and falling of breath. Let it hold like a small tether to the moment. It will keep the heart steady while the body repairs. If wakefulness stays, lean into the word. Use the phrase as a steadying point. Repeat it like a prayer of few words. The repetition is not empty. It is a rhythm that reteaches the nervous system how to rest. This is also a time to be honest with failures and to receive mercy in silence. The scriptural command to be still does not call for grand confession. It opens a pocket where honest naming can happen without accusation. Say one short thing. I am tired. I am sorry. I am afraid. Let these be offered in the hush. The word receives them like a friend who speaks no harshness back. The psalm's invitation to stillness often acts like a mirror. It shows where the hands are clenched. It reveals where the feet are ready to run. Do not react to the reflection with condemnation. Use it kindly. Adjust. Uncall a finger. Let the shoulder drop another fraction. Small changes are real changes. They accumulate quietly until the body learns new patterns. Now a guided breath with a phrase. Inhale and think be. Hold and think still. Exhale and think no. Repeat this pattern 3 times. Each cycle slows the heart a little more. Each cycle lets the word move from the head toward the ribs. The sensation is of a quiet seed being placed near warmth. Seeds seldom sprout in one night. The gift is that they are planted in the right soil. If worry presses hard, use a simple action. Place one hand on a Bible or on a closed book. Feel the weight. Feel the texture under your fingers. The physical contact anchors the practice in the body. The word becomes not just a thought, but a touch. Let that touch remind the mind of what the ears already hear. Be still and know that I am God. Say it again in the mind as I read it one final time. Hear each syllable with care. Let the words wash down like a quiet tide. Allow what remains of the day to settle into the margin. The margins of life are where new things can grow. Give them space tonight. I close this reading with a simple blessing held quietly, like a cloth placed across the shoulders. May stillness find a place in the breathing. May the word rest on the tired places and make them soft. May sleep come when it is ready. If wakefulness lingers, may the phrase return to the mind and steady it like a lamp. When the next page opens, I will read on gently. For now, rest the hand over the chest, if that is comforting. Breathe slowly. Let the Psalm's call be the small stone you carry into the night. Keep it in the palm. Let it warm. The reading continues when you are ready. For this moment, be still. No, rest. I carry a small story into this hour. It is a memory that rests like a quiet stone in my pocket. I have told it before, in fragments. Tonight I tell it whole. Slowly, it is a family story. It is simple. It is gentle. My sister becomes the center of the scene. Not a heroic figure, not a sermon, just a person who meets a night she did not expect. A diagnosis arrives one autumn. The world tilts. Blanc bleu. There is a stack of small failures and big fears at the edge of the bed. She moves through days with a thin smile. Nights grow sharp. One evening the sky is raw with rain. The house smells of boiled tea and old books. The lamp on the bedside table paints the ceiling, a soft gold. Machines are not present. Only the slow clock and the steady drip of a kettle cooling. She breathes uneven. The chest works too hard. Words are hard to say. Regret sits like a bundle woven into the ribs. The hour stretches, and the house leans inward. I sit with the Bible on my knee. This is the habit I bring to you each night as I read. It is what I did then as well. The book is a kind of companion in my hands. I open it with care. The pages feel thin and familiar. I do not choose a speech. I choose a few lines that speak of steadiness. I do not quote them as proof. I let them be a lamp. My reading is very slow. Each sentence is a small step. The voice keeps even pace. I match my breath to the rhythm I set. Inhale. Hold. Exhale. She matches after a few tries. The breath is not perfectly regular at first. It becomes so by degrees. That small discipline changes the room. I speak of presence in plain terms. I say that there is a companion who walks in the same dark places. I do not debate what that means. I let the idea rest like a warm cloth on a bruise. The thought is not heavy. It is a hand placed just above a wound. Not pressing, only offering support. She hears. Her shoulders sink a fraction. We do a tiny ritual. I fold the corner of the page and lay the book gently on the blanket. I touch the back of her hand without words. The skin feels thin and warm under my palm. She squeezes in return. A small, almost hidden sign. It is enough. Presence often needs no announcement. In that hour she names nothing large. There is no long speech. There is no confession like a headline. There is only a handful of small honesty fear. tiredness, need for mercy. Those are not shrunk. They are given a place to sit. I do not judge the size of the list. I only keep steady the rhythm of breath and thought. Faith does not arrive as a revelation. It arrives as a friend who sits through the dark. She remembers a hymn line, a phrase from childhood, an old picture. None of these is polished. None is proof. They are anchors. She leans on them without ceremony. The leaning is enough. Agidia simple exercise. We imagine placing every pressing worry on the nightstand. Each anxiety is named in a few quiet words in the mind. The action is not erasing, it is a placing. One by one, worries make a small pile by the lamp. The pile is visible only to the heart. We see it. Then we picture a pair of steady hands gathering that pile and lifting it away. The hands do not scold. They hold gently and carry. The body notices the shift. There is a palpable change. It is small at first. Her jaw unclenches. Her breath lengthens. The face that held thin lines softens like a well-worn page. I do not ask for faith to be dramatic. I only ask for a posture of receiving. She receives. The night seems less sharp where she lies. At one point, memory presses hard. Old grief, long-buried guilt. The small, repetitive ache of a life not reckoned these find edges in the dark. I read in a smaller voice. The Bible's phrases work by repetition, like a slow wheel turning. The images in the pages act as a net. They hold the frantic motion long enough for the heart to slow. She reaches for a small thing. It is a ring on a bedside bowl, a ribbon on a book. She does not speak a long line. She simply lifts the object closer and lays it on her chest. It is a witness to a life lived and loved. The gesture makes the moments before and after keep their connection. Memory and mercy sit together. I keep my sentences short. The hour asks for simple sound. I do not explain doctrine. I do not argue. I invite. This is the tone that helps the body quit its fussing. The voice becomes a rope tossed across a restless river. She uses it. She steps toward trust like someone stepping onto a bridge that does not creak. She does not find instant peace. The night is not instantly healed. Instead, calm comes as an accumulation of small things. A sigh that lasts a beat longer. A smile that is not anxious. A long, slow exhale that seems to carry more than air. I notice these without rushing them. I name them gently. This is a rest. This is a letting go. Naming is not a ceremony. It is a recognition. Sleep moves in like a tide, careful and patient. It is not a vanishing of pain. It is a placing of it into a different compartment. She sleeps with a hand on the Bible. Affine. Geertglasp. The hold is not possessive. It is trust. The room holds a hush that is not empty. It is presence made tangible. In the morning, the light is soft and clean. The face looks lighter. Not because the night did something miraculous, but because the heart had been given a rest it could accept. The rest made space for hardened places to breathe. The small peace that came in that night does not solve everything. It does something better. It makes the next step possible. Or a team. The memory of that night becomes a tool, When fear rises again, she calls it to mind. She reaches for the old habit, open the book. Breathe slow. Place the cares on the stand. The action is simple but steadying. It trains muscles that had learned to tighten. The body remembers how to accept mercy. There is grace in the ordinary. A cup of tea. A borrowed shawl. A friend's quiet knock. These do not erase sorrow. They sit beside it, like warm stones around a wound. Faith in her darkest hour looks like these stones. It is not showy. It is consistent. The house keeps the traces of that evening. The lamp still leans to the left from where it was nudged. The page corner stays folded. I notice these things. They are small marks of a peace that lingered. They are not trophies. They are memories that rest in familiar places. Years later, she will tell no tale of conversion or sight. She speaks instead of a steady returning, a hand that refuses to leave, a companion who arrives the night the world grows loud. She uses no jargon. She uses words like breath, rest, gentleness. In those words, the faith that held her finds shape. It is not dramatic. It is sufficient. I read this story to you in the quiet now. I read it because I want you to feel the texture of a peace that comes slowly. My voice is the same one that sat at that bedside. The reading I do before sleep for you is the same habit that steadied her. It is a small ministry. It is a way of telling the heart it may rest. There are nights when the darkness is not illness, but loss. There are nights when loneliness presses like a winter sky. The same practice applies. Open a page, breathe, place the weight on the table, and let it be lifted. The presence we trust does not rush the timeline. It walks with us. The company matters more than the speed. I do not promise dramatic endings. I promise presence. The story of my sister is proof of a different kind of miracle. A miracle of mercy in small increments. The heart learns to unfold like a bud. The bud does not explode open. It opens slowly, tenderly, over many moments. That is the kind of peace I know how to read about and to invite. If you find your night heavy, I offer the same simple steps. Keep this narrative in the pocket of your mind. Let it be a map, not a rule. Let it teach the body how to unlearn clenched worry. Let it invite a posture of receiving rather than proving. These small acts become habits that bear weight without fracturing. Before I close this part, I set a gentle scene for what comes next. Peace carried into life births a kind of courage. When a heart rests, it is freer to rise. In the next hour, we will speak of overcoming. We will not rush into triumphal language. We will trace the quiet ways that a rested heart meets difficulty and moves through it. For now, fold this story into your hands like a warm cloth. I close the Bible softly. The lamp hums low. The house breathes. If you wish, keep a hand over the chest. Feel the pulse. Let the small story rest with you. Breathe in. Hold. Breathe out. The night keeps its slow grace. The next part will come when you are ready. For now, rest in the knowledge that peace can be found at a bedside. And that faith often appears as a steady hand in the dark, I turn the page and feel the paper under my thumb. The room is hush. My voice moves like a slow tide. Tonight I hold a short line from a letter that has accompanied many nights. Do not let anxiety rule the heart. The phrase sits like a small lamp in the mind. It asks for a different motion. Present your requests, and let peace do a steady guarding work. Worry has a way of becoming a small occupation. It finds the quiet corners and sets up camp. It catalogues what might go wrong. It rehearses scenes that may never come to pass. The body takes directions from that rehearsal. Muscle brase. Breath shortens. Sleep drifts away. The habit is old and practiced. It wants tomorrow settled tonight. I do not argue with the worry. I name it. I say, silently, there is a worry here. The naming is simple. It creates a tiny gap between the feeling and the self. In that gap, the practice begins. The instruction in the letter is practical and gentle. Bring the burden forward. Offer it as a request. Do not be afraid to be small about the asking. Place a small paper on the bedside table if that helps. Write one line for each anxious thread. Short phrases work best, not long essays, not explanations. A name will do. Rendu. A phone call. A health report. A tomorrow's meeting. The hand that writes slows the mind. The act of seeing the worry in ink does something quiet to the chest. It removes a bit of the fog. Now, imagine each paper as a parcel. A soft knot ties each parcel. Present it like a gift. Present it not because it will vanish by the motion, but because the night needs a delegate. Picture a pair of hands receiving the parcels. The hands are steady. They do not look with judgment. They accept what is given. That acceptance begins to shift the pressure in the body. The letter I hold does not promise that every problem will be solved overnight. It promises a different thing, a peace that stands guard. The translation I keep in my head says this plainly: bring your concerns in prayer and request, and a peace will be given that protects the heart and mind. Protecting is a slow, watchful work. It does not do away with trouble. It keeps the trouble from overrunning the sleeping rooms of the soul. I invite a short practice now. Breathe in and name one worry quietly. Hold it there for a beat. Exhale and imagine handing it over. Breathe again. This time, ask inwardly for help with that specific thing. Then, before another breath comes, offer one small thanksgiving related to the same worry or to any small mercy at hand. The pairing is important. Asking without thanks leaves the mind still reaching. Asking with thanks makes room for trust. Gratitude here is not grand. It is a small light placed by the parcel. It might be as simple as a cup that came warm, or a friend who sent a message, or even a steady breath you managed when the day was noisy. Offer that thanks along with the request. The two move together like a lock and its key. The key opens the resting place. The lock keeps the peace inside. I suggest a rhythm to the breath. Inhale and collect the worry. Hold for a slow count. Exhale and release it as a request. On the next inhale, draw in a quiet thank you. Hold Exhale, and let the thank you sit near the parcel. Repeat. The breath ties the act of asking to the body. The rhythm teaches the nervous system a new pattern present. Trust. Receive. It helps to give the requests names that are neither tiny nor monstrous. Call them by their plain shape. This is a practical step. It keeps the mind from sprawling. One named worry sits on the table better than 10 unnamed ghosts in the head. The night favors clarity as much as it favors silence. Now imagine the peace described in the letter as a gentle sentinel. This sentinel does not stand with a weapon. It stands with a soft shield. The shield is not a barrier that blocks feeling. It is a guard that keeps the heart and mind from being overwhelmed by every passing thought. Visualize the shield as a thin band of light across the chest and around the mind. It hums quietly. The hum soothes, not silences. When the parcels of request are placed into the sentinel's hands, the shield begins its work. It sits across the place where worry gathers. The shield allows the mind to notice the anxious thought without letting it drive the whole evening. The thought may still visit. It no longer has the power to take up residence. This is a small, practical change. A little distance weakens the pull. If the mind resists this handing over, practice using a promise of timing. Tell the worry inside that it will be tended in the morning. Give it a time. A brief, scheduled appointment removes urgency. The mind often relaxes because it is heard and because it understands there will be a place for it later. For now, the night belongs to rest. The letter also gently insists on prayer done with gratitude. That pairing of asking and thanking is a kind of medicine. When thanks glues to the request loosens its tenacity. The mind sees not only the lack, but also the past cares that were met. Memory of small help becomes evidence. Evidence makes the act of handing over feel safer. If a prayer feels hard to form, keep it brief. A short sentence is enough. Name the need. Name a small thanks. End. The body responds to closure. The hands can rest. The eyes can soften. The act need not be beautiful to be effective. It only needs to be honest and routine. There are times when the worry is not about tomorrow, but about a deeper unease. In those nights, place trust in this guarding peace as a watch rather than a fix. The watch will stand through the night. It will let the heart sleep even in the presence of unknowns. Imagine the sentinel pacing softly while you lie still. Its footsteps are not loud. They are steady. They reassure more than they command. I speak slowly so the breath and the thought can match. Inhale. Collect a worry. Pause. Exhale. Hand it over. Inhale. Name a small thank you. Pause. Exhale. Feel the shield settle. Repeat this pattern until the chest feels less tight. The practice is simple. The repetition builds trust. Sometimes images help more than sentences. Picture a small mailbox by the bedside. Each request is a letter. Slide it in. Close the little door. The box has numbers that promise a morning sorting. The box stands under a soft porch light. The neighborhood is not perfect, but someone tends the box faithfully. Knowing the letters will be read in time reduces the night's urgency. Other times, a different image will carry the sense. Imagine each worry as a pebble in the palm. Place the palm on the table. When the hand closes into a fist, it presses the pebbles tight. When the hand opens and lays the pebbles on the table, the pressure leaves the fingers. The body notices the change. It is a small law of physics that the muscles remember. I have watched this work gently in bedside rooms. A list of small requests set in view becomes less haunting. A short moment of thanks collected the way we collect coins into a jar makes the mind feel nourished. The sentinel's shield needs both the collection and the thanks to do its quiet guarding. Let the thought of guarding peace be not an abstract promise, but a present practice. When the chest tightens during the night, return to the rhythm. Inhale and name the worry. Exhale and offer it. Draw in a small thank you. Send the shield a soft hello. The action does not always produce sleep immediately. Often it produces steadiness first. Sleep follows steadiness. If sleep does not come, the act of bringing the worry into the open and entrusting it to another keeps the mind from running. It makes the hours easier to bear. The guardian peace does not demand proof. It welcomes the parcel and keeps watch. That is often enough to allow the body to lower its defenses. Before I read the next passage, place your hand over your chest, if it comforts. Feel the beat beneath the palm. Let the rhythm be a measure of presence rather than alarm. Inhale and imagine laying one small worry in the palm. Exhale and see the sentinel cross the threshold to carry it. Offer a quiet thank you for the gift of help. Even a small, simple one. I finish this section with a gentle assurance held like a cloth across the shoulders. Worry is given a place in the night, not to be obliterated, but to be tended. Requests offered with thanksgiving invite a different response than worry alone. Peace that guards the heart and mind is real work. Slow and watchful. Practice it like a habit. Return to it like an attentive neighbor. The night becomes a field where the sentinel keeps steady. Rest here a while. Breathe. Hand over what you can. Keep a small thanks in the other hand. The guard will do its slow keeping as you sleep or as you stay awake in steadier company. I turn the page with a slow fingertip. The paper breathes beneath my thumb. The lamp keeps its pool of light. The room leans toward night. My voice moves in a low, even pace. Tonight the book opens to a passage that asks the tired to come. It calls the worn and the overburdened to set themselves down. The invitation is simple. It is gentle. It offers rest, like a hand held out to steady someone who stumbles. I read the meaning into the quiet. The text speaks of coming with what is heavy and placing it somewhere safe. It speaks of an easy yoke and a light load. I do not speak in theology. I speak in images that rest the ear. Imagine a yoke made not of iron, but of soft wood. Imagine it fitted with care, so the shoulders do not ache. Imagine someone who does not shout at the weak, but bends down, lifts a small weight from your shoulder, and says, "Here, let me carry this a while." Take a breath. Hold it. Let it go slowly. Breathe in the idea that some burdens may be carried in company. Breathe out the notion that every burden must be borne alone. The inhale gathers the sense of invitation. The exhale releases the small insistence that you must be perfect tonight. The posture the passage invites is not one of escape. It is not passivity. It is a receiving. It is a choice to set down what you cannot carry safely at the moment. Picture a small table by the bedside. Lay a single heavy thing on it. Name it in a single soft phrase. Work, worry. A strained conversation. A fear about tomorrow. Do not list everything. One thing at a time will do. Lay it down. Notice how the shoulders loosen, even a fraction. Compassion lives in that scene. The one who invites does so out of knowledge. He knows the shape of tiredness. He knows the ache of worn muscles, and the mind that will not rest. The invitation comes not from a distant judge, but from a companion who has watched many hands tremble. That compassion feels like a warm cloth pressed to a forehead. It does not lecture. It eases. Imagine a harbor at dusk. Small boats arrive with patched sails. No customs officer waits to inspect the seams. The harbor offers a berth. Ropes slack. A soft voice guides a boat in. The harbor does not demand that each sailor tell their whole life story before being allowed rest. The berth is a place to breathe. The tide will move the rest of the story along in its time. If weariness shows as guilt or shame, place those feelings on the same table. Say the word inside the mind guilt. Failure. Anger. Give it a small space to be seen. Then picture hands that accept the parcel without counting the cost. The act of handing over is not magic. It is practical. It changes the body. The neck loosens. The jaw unclenches. The heart learns a new rhythm. The yoke described is easy because it is shared. When someone else bears part of the weight, what was once unbearable becomes manageable. Close the eyes if that helps. Visualize shoulders meeting another set of shoulders. They are not pushing or pulling. They share a steady step. The gait slows. The night becomes less of an enemy and more of a companionable stretch of road. Now breathe with me in a measured way. Inhale 4 counts. Hold gently 2 counts. Exhale 6 counts. With each exhale, imagine one small burden lifted from the chest and placed on the bedside table. Repeat this rhythm 2 more times. Let the body follow the mind's small motions. Let the muscles accept the gift of being cared for. Sometimes rest comes as surrender. Sometimes it arrives as trust. Both are small acts. They do not mean giving up on tomorrow. They mean choosing a season of repair. The body repairs better when the mind stops rehearsing worst-case scenarios. The sleeper sleeps more fully when the mind accepts a delegate for the night. The passage also teaches gentleness with the self. The work of life may not pause, but the night can. The book does not ask for a list of accomplishments. It asks for a single breath. It asks for a hand placed on the heart. Place your hand now. Feel the pulse. A steady beat lives there. The beat is not judgmental. It simply is. Let that simple fact be a small anchor. I speak of compassion without heavy words. Think of it as a warm light lamp held close to a wound. Light does not heal by itself, but it makes the seam visible to a kind hand. Mercy moves in small, practical ways. It tends without boasting. It sits and watches and offers a blanket. If tears come, they are welcome. If sleep takes you mid-sentence, that too is welcome. There is freedom in the idea of a yoke that is easy. It reorders the picture of strength. Strength is not only what pushes forward, it is also what knows when to accept help. It is the modest courage to set down a heavy stone. The act of letting go is not weakness. It is wisdom in training. I read the passage slowly. Each sentence finds a place to land. Between phrases, I leave space. In the space, let a small memory rise, not to pull you away, but to be warmed and acknowledged. A brief kindness today, a choice to breathe when panic whispered. Let those memories be proof that help has come before. Let them make trust less foreign. From the bedside of rest, the mind can move into gentler truths. One of those truths is this: grace meets imperfection. It does not wait for perfection before arriving. It enters the room with patched sleeves and open hands. That thought is next. I close this section with it like a hinge. Grace in imperfection is not a lofty idea. It is a practical shelter for the uneven life. Picture a quilt made of many small pieces. Each patch shows stitches and green threads and faded cloth. The quilt still warms. The seams are part of its beauty. Perfection would be a sterile cloth, uniform and lifeless. Mercy prefers quilts because they show history and repair. If the mind insists that rest must be earned, test the notion gently. Imagine a doorway with no toll. Walk toward it. No ledger appears. No list of achievements is read aloud. Inside, there is room to be unfinished, to carry a half-healed wound, to be in the middle of learning. That interior space is grace. It meets the imperfect with a steady, uncritical gaze. Bring to mind one small failing from today. See the shape of it in a few soft words. Hold it up like a small object. Let the hand of grace lean in and examine it without scorn. The hand does not erase the mistake. It shifts the meaning of it. The mistake becomes material for mending rather than evidence for condemnation. Breathing exercises help here too. Inhale and name the imperfection in a single quiet word. Hold the breath and let the word rest under the ribs. Exhale and imagine a slow stitch running through the word, a mercy stitch that binds it into the quilt. Repeat once. The body notices less tightening around the thought. The mind learns a softer language toward its own errors. Grace also works in habit. Practice small acts of acceptance. Choose to rest when the to-do list still sits. Accept a kind offer without bargaining it away. Sleep with a hand on the Bible. These are tiny practices that teach the nervous system a new grammar: receive rather than achieve. Over time, the habit rewrites old reflexes. There is a fit between rest and grace. Rest opens the hands. Grace fills those hands with a warmth that does not have strings. When imperfection finally meets mercy, the heart can breathe. Life no longer needs to be defended at every hour. The tired places are allowed to soften. Resistance often appears as an inner voice that demands proof. Meet that voice not in argument, but with a small ritual. Picture a bowl on the bedside table. In its wood place, A pebble that names the voice's claim must earn rest. Say the pebble's name silently. Then set another pebble next to it labeled Grace. Watch the two sit together. The sight of both makes the claim less tyrannical. The mind can hold both without being ruled by the harsher one. If shame clings to imperfection, treat shame like a small ember. Do not stamp it out harshly. Cover it with a moist cloth of mercy. The ember cools. It does not disappear. It simply loses the ability to burn the whole night. That is the effect of grace in practice. I read these words slowly, as one who has sat at many bedsides. The rhythm of the reading is a balm. The book in my lap is a companion. The pages have turned for people who mend over long nights. Trust that the habit of opening these pages at the hour of sleep trains the heart to find rest and mercy together. Now a small invitation before I turn the page. Choose one practice to carry into the night a single breath pattern. A hand on the chest. A single pebble of thought placed on the table. Let that practice be small enough to do while eyes grow heavy. Let it be faithful enough to repeat tomorrow. I close this section with a soft assurance. Rest is offered without a ledger. Grace meets imperfection without a checklist. Both arrive in the same room where a lamp is lit and a Bible rests. Keep the hand on the heart. Hold a lantern word rest. Grace. Mercy. Let it warm the palm. When the next page turns, I will read a passage that leans into grace more fully. It will speak of tenderness toward faults and a steady patience with growth. The voice will remain slow. The lamp will not change its glow. For now, breathe in the invitation. Let the shoulders drop. Let the night begin its slow repair. I turn the page with a quiet thumb. The lamp keeps its calm circle. The book breathes where my hand rests. I feel the weight of the hour. I match my voice to its soft. Steady. Kefilv. Tonight I hold a line that has steadied many nights. The line says that in places of weakness, grace comes in a particular way. It is enough. It meets what is thin and frayed and completes what our hands cannot finish. I do not make this a lecture. I only pass along the thought like a small lantern. I speak of weakness plainly. The word is not a shame. It is a fact. It names tired muscles. A mind that circles the same worry. Hands that tremble with care. It marks the places where effort runs out and the heart feels small. Saying the name aloud gives the body room to notice it without having to fix it all at once. Grace, then, is a different kind of help. It does not come as a list of instructions. It arrives as a presence that fills and steadies. Imagine a cracked lantern on a dark night. The glass is chipped, the metal is dented. The lamp still holds oil. When light pours through the fissures, it spills in soft, unexpected patterns. The lamp does not hide the crack. The light makes the crack part of its beauty. I read this to you in the same room each evening. The habit is simple. The page opens. The lamp rests. The breath slows. In that rhythm, there is a space to try a small practice. Place a hand on the chest. Feel the beat. Do not force the breath. Let it find its own slow count. I will guide a single, soft motion. Inhale and name a weakness silently. One small thing, a single word is enough. Tired, anxious, empty, frayed. Hold it for a single, gentle beat. Exhale and imagine a light like rain falling into that place. The rain does not erase the crack. It only makes the edges less sharp. Repeat once. Let the body notice the slight loosening in the shoulders. I tell a short image now. Think of a bowl that has been broken and mended. It is not perfect. Its seams remain, but the bowl holds water. In some stories, the seam is filled with gold. The gold does not pretend the break never happened. Instead, it makes the repair visible. The bowl becomes both a vessel and an account of what it has endured. Grace works like that gold. It is not about covering faults. It is about honoring what was broken and then using the healed shape again. If the mind asks why weakness should be the place where power shows, do not push for an answer tonight. Let the mystery sit. Instead, notice how the body responds when a hand sets a warm object against the chest. Heat travels. Muscles that brace notice a small permit. They relax by degrees. The same happens when the heart experiences mercy. Relaxation is practical. It is a first step toward repair. I keep the sentences short, so the ear can rest. Grace is present in small acts. A friend who brings water. A call that arrives at the right moment. A quiet refusal to rush a wounded person. These practical mercies are what I mean by grace. They arrive without ledger. They come because someone chooses to hold. There is a memory I go to when the room feels heavy. It is not grand. It is an ordinary night with a child who cannot sleep. Small feet prowl. A thin voice asks for a story. I sit and tell the same short tale each time. The child grows calm. The voice smooths. The little body finds the rhythm of breath again. The story does not fix the child's fears. It keeps the child company until the heart slows. Grace looks like that steady listening when exhaustion tightens the jaw. I suggest a tiny ritual. Fold a corner of a page with 2 fingers. Place that folded corner on the bedside table like a small flag. Let it mark this moment. I am tired here. The fold is not a surrender. It is a signpost. It tells tomorrow where something needs attention. The folded edge frees the night to be rest. Power, made perfect in weakness, is not a power that crushes. It is a strength that bends and shapes itself to what is fragile. Think of a reed in a river. The reed sways. It does not try to hold the current. It lets the water move. The reed survives storms because it yields in a thoughtful way. This yielding is not giving up. It is a strategy the body and the heart can learn. I read slowly from memory the thought that grace is sufficient. The words are simple and spare. I let them sit between breaths. If the eyes close, allow sleep to follow. If the mind stays awake, stay with the phrase and let it do its gentle work. The practice is not about forcing faith. It is about leaning into what has already been offered. Sometimes weakness is the place where honesty first appears. Shame hides in bright rooms. In darkness, the truth of tiredness can be named without spectacle. Name one small truth now. Keep it brief. Place it on the table in your mind. Notice how naming shifts the body's alignment of fraction. The action is tiny. It is real. There is also a practical mercy here. When tasks pile like unread letters, choose one to place aside. Promise to return to it tomorrow. The promise acts as a hinge. It lets the night close without the tyranny of undone lists. The letting go is not neglect. It protects rest as a necessary work. If the thought of being held by grace feels strange, try the physical image of a steady hand under the back. The hand does not lift you to the sky. It steadies. It lets the breathing deepen. Place your palm on the lower ribs and imagine a warm palm there. Breathe into its warmth. Let the muscles that reached for control loosen one notch. Weakness can be the place where courage lives. The courage here is quiet. It names the need and lets another shoulder share the load. Ask once in the mind for a small help. The asking is not bargaining. It is a movement toward health. Pair the asking with a small gratitude. Thank quietly for one tiny mercy you have seen today. The pairing changes the posture of the heart. It makes the hand open instead of clench. I offer a short listening exercise. Close the eyes if that helps. Find the pause between two breaths and hold it. In that pause, whisper a single word enough. Not a loud proclamation. A soft recognition that the present supply of mercy is sufficient for this hour. Let the word rest like a coin in the palm of the mind. Keep the coin there as the breath resumes. A friend once told me that admitting weakness is like showing a map with worn edges. The map is valuable not because it is flawless, but because it has been used. The worn parts show where one has walked and returned. The map is not empty of errors. It is rich in lived paths. Keep that map nearby tonight if the chest feels overfull. Do not mistake grace for permission to neglect. It is not a pass to ignore the work that must be done. Instead, it is a reordering. Work done from a rested heart comes with clearer hands. Decisions made from repair last longer. The night teaches the body that repair is not stylish. It is necessary. I let the breathing settle. Inhale slowly. Hold a beat. Exhale and imagine a soft thread knitting the weak place. Repeat twice. The action is small. The habit grows more real with repetition. If tears come, let them pass. They are a kind of rainfall. Rain can be simple mercy to a parched field. Do not hurry the drying. Let the wetness do its work. Before I end this section, keep one practice in mind. Each night, name one small weakness. Offer it as a short request. Add one small thank you, then rest. Practice the movement like a slow prayer. It trains the body to accept help and the heart to trust that power can show up in fragile places. I close with a gentle promise held inside my chest. Grace is enough for this night. It meets the place that feels the thinnest. It does not hurry the repairs. It works quietly, and it works well. A friend will speak next about how grace looked to her in the long days. Her voice is different from mine. It carries the weight of lived practice. When the page turns, listen for that simple testimony. For now, keep the hand on the heart if that comforts. Breathe once more. Let the lamp's circle hold the rest. The reading continues. When you are ready, I sit down by the lamp. The light is low. The room is warm. A soft hush fills the air. I open the Bible and rest my hand on the page. My voice is steady and slow. I prepare to read. I breathe first. You breathe with me. Tonight, I bring a friend's story. It is not heroic. It is ordinary and tender. It has no grand ending. It has small, steady mercy. The memory is close. I carry it here like a quiet lantern. My friend arrives in the tale not as someone without faults, but as someone familiar with them. She keeps a crooked mug that never looks right on a shelf. She makes lists she never finishes. Her garden grows things that bend and lean in odd directions. The life she tends is not a picture in a magazine. It is real and stitched with mistakes. A challenge comes. It is slow at first. Then it grows obvious. Plans altèrent. Schedules stretch thin. Nights become sharp-edged with worry. She is the sort who tries to fix first and rest later. The trying does not make the nights softer. It makes them longer. I go to her house. A lamp is already lit. The room smells of lemon and warm bread. We sit. She speaks in small pieces inside herself. She does not ask for counsel. She asks to be seen and not polished. I bring the book. That is my habit. I place it on the blanket between us. The paper is warm from recent use. I read slowly. I do not quote loudly. I let the phrases settle like soft stones into a shallow pond. The sentences in the book do not demand answers. They simply hold. She listens, as if the reading were a slow hand at the back. The words reach the places that ache. They do not press or blame. Mercy arrives like steam from a teacup. It warms without burning. The transformation is not sudden. It is patient and small. I watch it as one watches a pot come to a simmer. First, there is a loosening in the shoulders. Then the breath finds a longer line. A small smile crosses the face that was set in tightness. Grace begins to collect around her in tiny ways. A neighbor brings soup and forgets to leave a note. A friend calls with no demands and stays only to listen. A child draws a picture and tucks it into an envelope with a clumsy heart. These acts do not fix the long list of woes. They soften the edges enough that small repairs become possible. She learns a practice. It is humble. Each night she names one imperfect thing and lays it on the bedside table. Not the whole heap. One thing. She writes it on a small scrap of paper. The writing is messy. The act is clear. She places the scrap beside the lamp. She breathes. She lets it be carried. I teach her a breathing pattern. Breathe in to the count of 4. Hold gently. Breathe out to the count of 6. Each exhale is a little letting go. The rhythm is a pledge that the night will be for resting and not for resolving all the world. In the reading, I offer a phrase about being held. The phrase is not heavy with doctrine. It is gentle. It says simply that a presence comes near. It keeps company. It does not demand proof of worth. She takes the phrase into her chest, like a small stone. The stone sits warm. Acceptance of imperfection arrives as a slow untying. She stops apologizing for the crooked mug. She begins to set it in places that make her glad. She allows a plant to lean rather than prune it into a false symmetry. She eats a piece of bread without first listing what she did not finish that day. These are small rebellions against the harsh inner judge. I watch her shy courage grow. She forgives the small mistakes she thought defined her. Forgiveness here is not a performance. It is a practical habit. She lays the scrap of a worry on the table and imagines handing it to the one who refuses to tally faults. The image is quiet. It changes the body first. Muscles that held tightness begin to ease. There is a night when she cannot sleep at all. The stars are out. The house is breathless. She is awake and thinking of a meeting, a bill, a conversation she cannot take back. I sit with the book open. I sit with a cup that warms my hands. I read slowly. The voice is low. The words fold into the house like a lullaby. She tells me later that the reading did not give her solutions. It did something quieter. It allowed her to stand beside her worries without becoming them. She calls it a room in the heart where mercy can keep a small lamp. The lamp does not change the problem. It changes the way the problem sits inside the night. Months later, the garden changes. The crooked mug stays on its shelf. It becomes part of the life the household. Imperfection shows itself as the fabric of neighborliness and small joys. Friends continue to arrive with unsolicited soup and misplaced notes. The practice of naming one worry and laying it aside becomes a habit that shapes the evenings. I return to that home again and again. The pages in my hand are folded at a corner that has become familiar. We keep no ceremonies. We keep rhythms. We breathe. We offer thanks for the small mercies. We read a line and let it land. I do not present the story as a formula. The pattern does not promise immediate healing or a neat, tidy conclusion. It promises a posture. It promises that a life held by steady, small acts of grace begins to learn a softer grammar. There are setbacks. Some days the list grows long again. Old habits yell to return and to prove one's worth before accepting rest. When that happens, we return to the small practice. One scrap, one breath, one short thank you. The repetition trains a muscle. The muscle becomes the first responder of the soul. I read to you now in a deliberate way. My reading is slow. My pauses are long. Between phrases, I let you breathe. I let the words sink. The cadence is measured to the breath pattern I ask you to keep. Breathe in on 4. Hold. Breathe out on 6. The rhythm moves like a low tide. I urge you to imagine a bedside table in a quiet house. Place one imperfect thing on it. See it plainly. Do not carry the whole suitcase of the day. Take one item. Name it. Lay it down. Imagine a steady pair of hands. Lift it and carry it gently beyond the window. Watch the hands go and return. The room remains soft. If sleep comes in the process, let it arrive. If wakefulness lingers, stay with the image. Keep a hand on the heart. Feel the pulse. The pulse is a small metronome of presence. Let the steady beat remind you that you are kept even while you are imperfect. I read a few lines from memory about peace. The lines do not argue. They simply stand like a fence around the garden. Peace, Holes where the world is not already tidy. It holds the broken. It holds the clumsy and the small-hearted. The shelter is not for those who have achieved. It is for those who come as they are. Mercy looks like soup on a doorstep, like a neighbor's quiet knock, like a friend reading a few sentences. As the night grows thin, it looks like a lamp placed near the bed. It looks like a hand over a cold shoulder. These are not grand acts. They are faithful ones. I end the reading with a simple blessing. The blessing is not elaborate. It is practical and warm. May the night hold you. May a gentle mercy sit with the places that ache. May grace meet you in your imperfection. May you learn the small habit of placing one worry on the table and letting the rest wait until morning. Rest now. Breathe with me once more. Inhale to 4. Hold. Exhale to 6. Lay one small thing on the table in your mind. Let the lamp keep watch. Let sleep come slow and kind. I close the book softly. The light leans lower. The room keeps its hush. Peace for the night. Peace for the rest. Peace for the slow work of living and of learning to receive what is given. I remain here, reading in the quiet, until the breath grows deep and the house rests. I turn the page and let the thought settle. A short line from the psalm sits in the room with us. It says simply that sleep can be given without fear when safety rests close. I carry that meaning like a small shawl. I do not shout it. I let it breathe. Rest begins with trust. Trust is a small action. It is the choice to hand over what keeps the mind tight. It is the decision to lean into a presence that watches through the dark. Picture a child who is worn out and finally curls into a parent's arms. The child does not review the day. The child closes the eyes. The arms are steady. That steadiness is what the psalm gives language to a home in the night, where no terror can find its final hold. Place a hand over the chest. Now, if that helps, feel the slow beat beneath the palm. Match the breath to that beat. Breathe in softly. Hold. Breathe out, and imagine a safe wall drawing near the ribs. The wall does not keep out the world. It simply keeps you in a place where the world cannot demand the whole night. Let the idea sit like a warm stone. I speak of safety not as a distant theory. I speak of it as something present and practical. Imagine a small room inside the body where a lamp glows. The lamp does not blind. It offers a soft radius of light that keeps the edges gentle. Into that light, drop one small fear. Name it simply in your mind. Let the fear rest there. It is seen. It is not ignored. Then imagine a steady hand placing a thin blanket over it. The blanket is mercy. It does not erase the worry, but keeps it from smashing the whole night. I am the one who reads these lines aloud. I choose each pause with care. The pauses are doors. They allow the words to fall into the ribs and not just the head. Hear the paraphrase of the psalm again in the hush. I will lie down and sleep, for safety is given. Let this be a small promise. Do not demand that every fear vanish. Let the promise be the hinge on which the night turns. If the mind reaches for reasons, do not argue. Offer the list one by one into prayer as a calm practice. Hold each item in the inward hand. Say nothing loud. Just hand it over. That motion matters. The body responds. The shoulders drop by a degree. The jaw relaxes. Trust is trained in small repetitions. Try a brief exercise with me. Breathe in gently to 4 counts. Hold for 2. Breathe out to 6. On the out-breath, picture a door that opens inward from the chest. Place one worry on the threshold and close the door. It is not a door of denial. It is a door of stewarding. You will return to the worry with clearer sight. For now, let the room inside be for rest. Repeat this 3 times. Safety often feels like an embrace. If that image helps, imagine being held by hands that know every scar. The hands do not flinch at the broken places. They cradle them. The embrace is steady. The heartbeat you feel when a palm rests on your chest is the echo of that care. Let the palm be an emblem of the present comfort. Some fears come as loud storms. Others come as small, steady drips that wear thin the patience. Both kinds can be offered the same way. Name the sound of the fear in one soft word: storm. Drip. Ache. Let the word sit. Then imagine a soft guard that wraps the word like cotton. The cotton absorbs the sharpness. The noise becomes softer in the ears. The body can accept sleep even with a dampness of worry. A quiet picture helps the hands. Picture a porch at dusk. A gentle neighbor sits on the step. Their presence does not fix the road. It only keeps the porch from feeling empty. The neighbor is the image of the one who guards. The porch stays warm while the stars turn. Let this comfort be small and near. I remind us that settling for safe sleep is not a cheap avoidance of life's work. It is an act of steadiness that strengthens tomorrow. Rest repairs the nervous system. Rest sharpens judgment. The night that allows sleep gives a clearer morning. That truth offers practical permission to close the eyes before every knot is untied. If guilt presses tonight, place it before the lamp and speak one short sentence inside the mind. I give this weight to the one who keeps. Not long, not ornate. The simple surrender matters. Let the palms be open. The act of releasing is a gift to the body. The chest loosens. The mind learns a new script in which something other than achievement keeps the heart. Now, a short image for the ears. Imagine a small cradle rocking gently. The world may be loud outside the window. Inside, the cradle moves with a quiet rhythm. Each sway is a breath. The cradle does not demand an explanation. It simply rocks. Let the heart rest with that motion. The rhythm becomes a slow metronome that steadies the pulse. I ask for a brief counting practice. Inhale to 4. Think the word held. Hold a beat. Exhale to 6. Think the word safe. Repeat twice. Use those 2 words as tiny anchors. When a thought gallops away, call the word held or safe and bring the mind back like a gentle rain. The rain does not scold. It returns with tenderness. Trust is not a performance. It does not require a polished faith. It is a small, repeated leaning. Lean for a minute, then lean again tomorrow. The habit gathers weight. Over many nights the body remembers how to rest even in thin places. That memory is mercy in slow accumulation. As the night wraps tighter, I invite a brief practice of gratitude held like a coin. Recall one small kindness from the day. Do not search for grand proofs. Find a warm cup, a kind look, a moment when breath came easier. Hold that memory for 2 slow breaths. Let the gratitude sit beside the fear on the bedside table. The two can live together. Gratitude does not erase worry. It softens its edges. Before I close this section, offer a short, inward promise. Tell the mind that worries will be tended at dawn with clearer eyes. Give them a time. Promise to return to them then. The scheduling frees the night. The mind leans into the promise. The body yields a little. I will read a single short line now. Not to preach, but to seal the practice. Lie down and sleep in the confidence of being held. Let the phrase sit in the chest. Let the ribs follow its rhythm. Allow the hands to warm on the heart. The house of the night is open to rest. We prepare now to move toward the prayerful close. The practice of trust slides naturally into a posture of thanks. Collect 3 small mercies in the mind. They may be simple light on the floor, a moment of laughter, a safe table. Let them burn like tiny candles in the inward room. The candles do not glare. They warm. Keep them near. If the eyes are heavy, let them close. If the mind wakes, stay with breath and the 2 anchor words. In a moment, I will lead a short prayer of thanks and surrender. The prayer will be simple and brief. Fold hands if that feels right. Keep the forehead soft. Bow the chin, or simply lower the gaze. The posture is less important than the inward motion. Before the prayer, remind the heart of one quiet truth. Safety is not the absence of trouble. It is the presence of a keeping hand. The keeping hand works in slow time. It tends while the night moves. Trust the hand tonight. Allow it to be the place where sleep leans. I place a small blessing in the room now. Spoken in the mind like a soft touch. May the shelter of care be near. May the ribs unbind. May the breath find its deeper line. Keep the lantern word held. Safe, warm, in the palm of thought. When the next page turns, the prayer will come. The prayer will be short and full of thanks. If sleep takes the body before the end, sleep in the peace that the psalm names. Rest well. The page turns with a slow thumb. The lamp leans over the paper. The room breathes in the same low rhythm. My voice comes in soft and steady. I do not hurry the lines. I do not pile them up. I let them rest. Tonight we fold together what we have carried. Little threads of mercy. Small acts of grace. Single lantern words. All of them gather like quiet coins in a palm. The hour asks for a gentle closing. The habit of reading is a way to make the night tender. The habit asks only for presence. Settle where you are. Make no sudden moves. If a blanket helps, draw it up. If a hand on the chest comforts, place it there. Feel the steadiness of the beat beneath your palm. The beat is a small metronome. Let it call the breath. Inhale, hold, exhale. Keep that pace as we finish. I read a short passage slowly. The words I bring are not a test. They are a lamp, They speak of mercy near at hand. They speak of a hand that tends the wounds, and a voice that does not judge but steadies. Take each sentence like a small stone. Lay it in the mind. Let it warm. Between the phrases, pause. Breathe. Let the phrase sink toward the ribs. If the eyes close, that is welcome. If wakefulness stays, let the words be a soft company. The scripture moves like a gentle tide. It does not bulldoze the shore. It laps. It smooths. It leaves small shells that glint in the dark. Now, a short practice. Gather one thin worry in the mind. Make it a single thing. Say its name without fear. Lay it on the bedside table inside the imagination. Picture hands steady. Patient, taking it up. The hands do not scold. They carry the parcel a little way and set it down in a safe place. The body notices the shift. The shoulders relax a fraction. The thought of forgiveness comes gently. Forgiveness is not a loud eraser. It is a slow untying of knots. Imagine a knot in a rope. A careful hand works the knot loose. It sometimes takes patience. It sometimes takes more than one night. The hand does not hurry. The knot loosens by inches. The rope becomes more flexible. The body follows the rope's movement. Tension gives way. If the weight you carry is towards yourself, bring the same softness inward. Name one small fault. Speak a kind phrase inside. I am learning. I am trying. The phrase is not a license. It is a tether to mercy. Repeat the injunction in the mind. Grace meets me here. Let the breath move with the words, inhale acknowledgement, exhale release. Mercy and grace have a shape in practice. They look like a neighbor bringing soup. They look like a quiet call that says, I am here. They look like a hand that rests on a shoulder without a long lecture. They do not appear as thunder. They come as steady light. Let those images settle beside the worry on the bedside table. Now turn inward to prayer. Prayer need not be large. It is a small opening. It is a breathing out and a breathing in. The posture matters more than the words. Bow the head, or keep the gaze low. Fold the hands, or lay them open on the lap. Choose what feels safe. I invite a simple prayer with you. Speak the words softly in the mind if speaking aloud feels heavy. Use your breath as a timing. Inhale and draw the request. Exhale and let it go. No need to make it ornate. Keep it plain. I will lead and then be still with you. First, an honest confession. Name one small failure. Do not dramatize it. Do not replay its whole history. Offer it as a single line. Ask for forgiveness, not as a mere word, but as a releasing exhale, and lay the failure on the bedside table. Imagine it placed under the light. Next, ask for grace. Grace is the gift that covers and repairs. Ask simply for help to receive it. Picture grace as a soft cloak put over the shoulders. Feel its weight warm, not heavy. Let it settle. Breathe its warmth into the throat and chest. Then ask for peace, not the kind that erases trouble, but the kind that steadies the heart in trouble. Ask that peace would be a guard around the mind. Imagine a small shield of light that keeps panic from overwhelming the room. Let the shield hum quietly in the ribs. Keep the hands where they are. Feel the pulse. Let the three things confession. Grace. Peace be offered in quick, clear motions. Confess one small wrong. Receive a gift of grace. Ask for a peace that will watch through the night. Use the breath to move them through you. If you are unsure how to begin, you may hold a short sentence in mind for each step. For confession, I am sorry for this. For grace, help me to receive your kindness. For peace, keep my heart steady tonight. These are small phrases. They do not tax the ears. They do not require long language. They are enough. I stay here as you speak them. I do not hurry the silence that follows. Prayer needs a quiet to breathe. Let the quiet be long. Let it be deep. In that silence, feel the presence of care. It does not speak loudly. It is a steady attendance. If tears come, let them. Tears are a kind of prayer too. They carry what words cannot. They do not shame the one who cries. They water the places that need softness. Allow them to be companions as you rest. When the asking feels complete, rest the hands on the chest and give thanks for one small mercy. Say a short thank you inwardly. It may be for a cup of tea, for a kind word, for a moment of clarity, for the simple fact of a breath that came easier. Gratitude does not deny sorrow. It opens the field for tenderness. Now a closing prayer I offer aloud in a quiet voice. Use it as your own, or let it be the pattern for what you want to say. Lord, we come with tired hands. We ask for forgiveness for the small ways we failed today. We lay our mistakes before you. Give us grace where we are thin. Cover the cracked places with kindness and steady care. Grant us a peace that does not depend on understanding it all. Let this peace watch our minds and keep our hearts as we sleep. Let your presence be near. Hold us as a parent holds a child. Let mercy sit close to the ribs. Teach us to receive what we cannot earn. Make our rest a place of healing. Amen. Breathe slowly after the word Amen. Let the sound fall away. Keep the hand on the chest if that comforts. Notice the steady pulse beneath the palm. Let the rhythm be the last thing you listen to for a while. I will not read more now. The prayer is a door. You have stepped through. If sleep comes, go with no guilt. Sleep is a gift and a healing. If wakefulness stays, sit with the warmth that has gathered. Keep the lantern word where it can be found. Let it be a small bell to call you home when wandering thoughts arrive. Before we part, one small instruction. If worry begins to stir during the night, name one small task you will take in the morning. Give it a time. Toss it into the mental mailbox and close the lid. The act of scheduling eases the mind. It tells thought there will be an appointment. For now, the night belongs to rest. A final blessing rests in my chest. May forgiveness reach the places that ache. May grace be evident even in your small failures. May peace settle like dew over the mind. Know that presence is not a theory tonight. It is an actual keeping. It is the steady hand that will not let go. If you are alone, remember that solitude is not absence of company. Presence sits with you even when no voice answers. If you are with another, share a brief sign of peace before sleep, a hand touching a shoulder, a small eye contact held for a beat. That simple exchange makes the night gentler. I close the book softly. The lamp keeps its glow. The breath in the room lowers. The house leans in. Rest now. Trust the keeping that surrounds you. Sleep when it comes. Wake when it comes. Both are held. Good night. May mercy meet you in the dark. May grace warm your edges. May peace keep your heart steady. I will be here again to read when you return to this bedside. For now, sleep in the promise of being kept